should I talk about this? And it's not because I didn't want to talk about this, but I'm going to go into more more detail on my other channel discussing the travesty that I saw what happened with Tyreek Nichols. And I gotta tell you, as a parent, a black man, and just a human being in general, I was just horrified seeing that video, what transpired and what happened. And it almost brought me to tears because not only was I watching a defenseless man basically get attacked and beating, which eventually led to his demise, it was by men who carry badges that look just like him. And then the way they were congregating and chilling and kicking it like they was at the club or something just made it even more horrific to see something like that happen. And then it was even more horrifying watching them try to get they stories together, where one of them was trying to say, "Oh, I think he reached for my service weapon." And then of course now what's going to happen is the bigger issue. And I guess, there were some people out there that thought we wasn't going to talk about this because the officers happened to look like me. No, I guess y'all forgot I did a video in regards to what happened with Freddie Gray. Like I said, that was just hard to watch, seeing a defenseless. He was defenseless. Now, it's going to be somebody eventually condescending that's going to come on here that don't have no compassion and just see it as just another, dude that got out of line. And nah, that wasn't the case. I saw the whole video. All they had to do is just say, "Hey, bro, are you okay?" And we just noticed you was swerving. And then all of a sudden, and this dude had a job. Now, before anybody try to say, well, maybe he had a weapon on him. Anybody that's from Memphis or Tennessee knows that Tennessee is an open carry state. So having a weapon on you in your car is routine. It's an open carry state. So if anybody tries to play that angle, nice try. That wouldn't be out of the ordinary. It's a Memphis, Tennessee. The state of Tennessee is a open carry state once again. From my knowledge, he worked at FedEx. You know, the guys, the men that are supposed to protect and serve came at him aggressive. They already were amped up. I done seen several situations, whether it be a black officer or a white officer. Sometimes they'll just say, "Hey, one pulled me over and said, 'Hey, you forgot to turn on your lights.' And I said, 'Okay, I'll turn them on.' He said, 'You got a license?' I said, 'Yeah.' 'Do you got insurance?' I said, 'Yeah.' 'All right, have a nice day.' There's so many scenarios. Sometimes when you pull somebody over, if they don't look intoxicated, sometimes you could just say, 'Hey, man, I noticed you were just driving. Are you okay?' Keep in mind, these dudes took an oath. They were supposed to receive, at least 6 months to a year of training on how to handle situations. And these dudes, they failed. They failed as officers. They failed as black men. They failed as human beings. And we have to take a look and have a deeper discussion on, internal racism. They didn't even see this dude as a person. They looked like they were to see. It's a difference between having to You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself than looking for a reason. See, they were looking for a reason. And I don't want to hear none of this stuff about, well, he shouldn't have took off. Let me explain something to you. Just because you take off doesn't mean that you are supposed to be beating to a pope. And I wish people would stop saying that, because it's a lot easy for somebody to talk like that when it isn't happening to them, or if it isn't your child or your brother, your father, your uncle, your cousin, your best friend, your co-worker. See, it's a lot easy to say that stuff when it don't affect you. But see, I'm one of them type of people that think, what if that was me? And as a father of a 24-year-old son, that was horrible to see that displayed. That blatant display of lawlessness. You know what I'm saying? Arrogance. Nonchalantness. Being overzealous. Thrill seeking. Like I said before, I don't know what was worse, them repeatedly hitting him while he was handcuffed, kicking him. And I mean, once you have a person in handcuffs, he is defenseless. He was defenseless. Okay? That's the definition of brutality. He was pretty much jumped. Okay? He was jumped. He was bullied. He was terrorized. Everything that you can think of under the sun happened in that video. And I know what those cops were thinking. See, what they try to do, they went into, you know, what they did was they went into acting mode. You know, acting like this wasn't going to be a big deal. And they probably thought, nobody ain't going to care. It's just some black dude. But as you guys can see, they still haven't learned their lesson. As content creators, as media people, they have to be held accountable. They have to be called out. Now, these 5 officers, to me, everybody involved should be charged and they should lose their job. They let him sit out there for at least half an hour before they got him medical attention. And I could just see the dude, based on the fact how he was, you know, leaning over, tipping over, that he was in, you know, that he was seriously hurt. And then what made it so bad, they picked him up and dragged him and sat him against the car. Didn't even stand him up, they dragged him. Like he wasn't even a human being. You know, I know the Memphis police chief is a black woman. Just horrible. And it just goes to show you the conditioning, the training that they are taught to have towards people that look like us. It's funny. Ice Cube said many moons ago in that song, and you know what I'm talking about, when he said, you know, black police showing out for the white cop. Yeah. They wasn't physically there, but in spirit, that's who they was trying to please. Because you're taught. I've talked to several officers. I know black police officers. And they talk about internal racism in the police department. There have been several stories about internal racism in the police department. So it still comes down to being black and blue. Or should I say black, white, and blue. Now you see they wasn't no protection for these dudes. They didn't have no problem. They didn't have no problem rendering the decision to get rid of them. Because keep in mind, it's also about having an angle. And see, what happened was a lot of these people thought that content creators like me was go sit back and not say nothing. They sadly mistaken. I don't care. I don't care what the officer looked like. If I see a black officer abusing his authority and his power on another black man, he gonna be called out. And like I said, what those policemen did was disgusting. And I'm giving you the edited version because on my channel, my other channel, that's when I'm really gonna say what I need to say. But right here on this platform, can't say it like like I said, you know, there's certain things that I can't say now. They've been, they didn't came after me, so I gotta tread water. I gotta tread water lightly. You know what I'm saying? Basically, I still gotta have a life preserver in a 5 feet pool, if you catch my drift. But as I said before, just a complete abuse of authority. No remorse, no sympathy, no empathy. Like I said, them dudes sitting up there just kicking it, chilling, for real, acting like they just came out the club. It was almost like they got off on doing that. But it just goes to show you the vitriol and the vitriol and the internal hatred that we have for each other. I can promise you, five Caucasian cops wouldn't have did that to another, another Caucasian person. I've seen the videos where a Caucasian man, he literally drew down on the police. And this was in Ohio. He drew down on them. Pointed at him, shut his car door, and drove off. Now, we know I don't have the luxury of being able to do nothing like that, because you know what would happen to me if I even remotely looked like I was reaching for anything. You know what would happen to me. I would be instantly deleted. But for real, we have to have a deeper discussion about self-hatred. About us being conditioned not to have compassion for each other. And like I said, I promise you those dudes wouldn't have did that to a Caucasian dude. I promise you. But they just saw him as just another what. And they felt like, hey, who's going to care? But see, at the same time, they going to make an example out of y'all. Y'all going to be the new crash course dummies. Because they lost their jobs and they are being charged with second degree, from my knowledge. And they should. I mean, that was just horrifying to see them like just continuously punching that dude, kicking him. And this is when he's handcuffed. Once he's defenseless. Now that's where you can have the discussion about brutality or tortured. He got kicked repeatedly in his head, and he got punched repeatedly. And then left him on the ground for over 30 minutes before they got medical attention for him. And then the people that showed up to give him medical attention was hesitant. So the people from You know what I'm saying? So basically, the paramedics, the rescue unit, or excuse me, the paramedics, uh, they've been replaced on administrative leave. And of course, Benjamin Crump is there, right on schedule. I mean, that dude, it seemed like his nose gets wide open when these type of things happen. I just couldn't believe, like I said, watching them do that to another black man. I mean, with no remorse. And like I said, I think the most disturbing part about watching that video was seeing them dudes congregating and like chilling. I mean, they was acting like it was like they was just chilling. And then he's sitting on and then he's you know laying on the ground in handcuffs, defenseless. Then they sitting up saying, "Oh, you own something." Well, you don't know that. As you can see, they didn't have no problem throwing them to the wolves. They had no problem. They didn't have no problem making them the sacrificial lamb. I mean, KRS-One said in the song from the Blueprint album, the real Blueprint album, not the one Jay-Z made. He had a song called "Who Protects Us from You." Now, I'm not saying all, and I want to make this clear. I'm not saying all men that wear badges are horrible people, but at the same time, they have to be held accountable for their actions. Just because you have a badge and a service weapon don't mean you get to do whatever you want to do and think that there's no consequences or repercussion. We've all done things that we may have or will eventually pay a steep price for. You never know. I've done things that I regret. I done things knowingly that it might be wrong. Then there were times where I did something where eventually I thought about it and I was like, well, maybe I was wrong. But for them to sit up there and be punching on the dude and kicking on the dude and beating the dude with you know with a nightstick, how could they sit up there and just act like it was cool? And then to sit up there and just chill about it. Why didn't somebody step in and say, hey, that's enough? There's no way you can get around it. I didn't seen officers intervene and say, hey, man, hey, you can't do that. Nah, you can't do that. I'm not going to let you get away with that. I'm not going to let you do this. It doesn't matter whether you being arrested or getting a ticket. You still have rights. Like I said, running and them catching you doesn't translate to you being beaten to a pulp. And I wish people would stop saying that, trying to balance that out, trying to say if you run, you should be beaten. You can't talk your way out of this. You can't talk your way around. Now I can see if he fled the scene, he had a weapon on him and he fired at them and then they fired back. Hey, it's clean, no problem. Can't argue against that. But because somebody ran, so are you guys in the law enforcement business, or you're a gang? Are you in the retaliation business? It's up to the courts to punish the dude. It's not for you to punish the man on the spot because he took off. Your job is to protect and serve. All you're supposed to do is arrest the person if you feel like you have to arrest him. That's what you really truly supposed to do. The only time you supposed to use that kind of force if you feel like this dude is an immediate threat. I didn't see him throw any throw any punches towards them. They were the ones that were aggressive and hostile towards him. I mean, they approached him hostile. And that's not how you supposed to. And I'm sorry. And I'm going to say this to anybody that's listening. As citizens, we have to start looking at our state laws, whatever perspective state that you in, your rights as a citizen when you encounter law enforcement. We have to start learning these things. We're going to have to take the time out to start learning these things, learning our rights. The same way these whites and these non-blacks, and there's some brothers and sisters that's on point. We got to start taking the time out to learn these things. What are our rights as a citizen, and what are our rights when we encounter law enforcement? We have to learn these type of things. We have to learn these type of things. And we have to get involved as citizens. We have to look, like I keep telling you, we don't have no allies. It's us against everybody else. And while you have black men and black women at odds with each other about just random trivial stuff, this is important. This is what we need to be paying attention to. This is what we need to be paying more attention to. It only takes a few minutes a day to learn what is the laws of your prospective state as far as a counter with the police, your right to show ID or deny showing ID. Because I know in California, I don't have to show them ID if I don't want to. They have to tell me exactly what I'm accused of doing. They have to. And then even when they pull you over, they have a certain amount of time to hold you, in temporary custody, because they can't just sit up there, hold you up for an hour. Let's just say they run your name, your license and all that stuff and nothing comes up. Well, they immediately supposed to let you go, because if they hold you up longer than a certain amount of time, then that's considered kidnapping. That's considered kidnapping. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, that's the problem. You're not, as a peace officer, your job is to protect and serve. You are not supposed to be Judge Dredd, where you can render the decision right then and there on the spot. Once they caught him, once they had him in handcuffs, that was it. They could have just put him. Why didn't they just forcefully put him in the car? They could have just put him in the car, but no, they decided, no, we gonna get a couple of licks in. We gonna punch him. We gonna kick him. We gonna taser. We're gonna tase him. We're gonna hit him. We're gonna hit him with the nightstick. There were so many different solutions. Once you have them in handcuffs, they could have just put them in the car. They could have just put him in. They could have temporarily put him in the car. Why had a man on the ground, like beating the hell out of him? It is so funny. I guess a lot of outsiders thought that we wasn't going to talk about this. I guess they thought this didn't fit our, you know, our agenda to just only make this about, you know, black men and black women getting, you know what I'm saying, beat up by, you know, non-black officers. No, we don't care who it is. Okay? We don't care who it is. But I guess that's what they thought was gonna happen. I guess they was like, they're not gonna say nothing. Oh, they only care when it's a white officer. Nah, I care when it's an officer not doing their job. Period. I don't give a damn what color he is. They didn't do their job. Once again, they failed as sworn officers of the law. Like I said before, the most disturbing thing was them like high-fiving each other and shoot, they did everything except say, let's go get some drink. They did everything except say, let's go get something to drink from the stove. And then seeing them like trying to get their stories together. Oh man, I think I saw one of them reach for my. Oh man, I think I saw one of them reach for my service weapon. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Well, that's what I'm trying to tell people, Torian. If you get pulled over by the police and they run your name. And they run your name, nothing comes up, they are supposed to immediately let you go. Either they can write you a ticket or don't. And you don't have to sign it too. You could just say, okay, well, I'm not going to sign it. You can send it in the mail and I'll show up at court. They have to let you go after a certain amount of time, because if they don't, that is considered kidnapping. So, food for thought, especially if you're in California, they have to let you go. If they run your name, nothing comes up. And they keep you, let's just say they keep you additional 20 minutes after they pulled you over, they technically then kidnapped you. And you can file charges against them. Now, whether something will be done, that remains to be seen. Keep in mind, I'm in California, so well, Mike, you're going to have to watch the video. Sometimes to get a better understanding of what's going on and how to fight situations like this, you have to understand and study what you're looking at. So when you have to speak on certain things like this, you will know what you're talking about. Like I said, it is hard to watch. It's hard. It's very hard to watch. I think it's hard to watch for a lot of different reasons, and most of us know the main reason why it's hard to watch. Because I don't think, for real. Just because and then here's the thing, the funny thing is, I was watching CNN, and I don't hardly ever watch CNN. And Don Lemon basically verified something that a lot of people were scared to say. Don Lemon said, based off how they were aggressive towards him, I might have would have ran. So basically, he said, hey, can you blame him for running? No reason for them to be that aggressive. So what? You were swerving. You could have just said, hey, bro, what's up? He like, what did I do? He was like, hey, he could have just said, hey, are you okay? What's your name? Can we see? We pulled you up. And see, this is something else that they don't tell you. See, I used to correct officers when they do that, and they used to get mad. And some of them say, don't tell me how to do my job. Oh, I am going to tell you how to do your job. Because you know why? I pay your salary. My taxes pay your salary. You work for the people. So when they try to get all, animated, you work for the people. The people pay your salary. Because, see, I've been studying this stuff. I've studied this stuff for a while, and I've been doing a lot of research on this kind of stuff. The officer always supposed to tell you, hey, sir, good evening. He can't say, hey, I'm officer so-and-so. He is supposed to say, how you doing, sir? The reason why I pulled you over. He ain't supposed to just get out the car, walk up to you and say, license and registration, please. They are supposed to tell you why they pulled you over immediately. They're not supposed to just say license and registration. If they sit up there and say, oh, can I see your license and registration? You can say, hey, you making up something. They are supposed to immediately tell you, hey, good evening, sir. Hi, I noticed this is going on. I noticed that is going on. That's why I pulled you over. Can I just see your license? Do you have a valid driver's license? Do you have insurance? Sometimes they'll just be like, all right, man, go. So I done met some officers that do follow the law to the T. But then the ones that'll just come, hey, license and registration. You are making a situation hostile based off your approach. Walking up to somebody, hey, can I see your ID? Huh? For what? And then you get these yahoos that'll sit up there. See, that's the problem. That's why I don't pay attention to clowns like Charleston White who sit up there and try to justify this. Oh, well, you need to be respectful. Hey, the police need to be respectful to y'all. They need to be respectful to us. See, you can't argue with me about stuff like this because, like I said, I have friends that's in law enforcement. I used to date a lady that was a police detective. So I know. Anybody would be mad. Some dude walk up to them. Some officer walk up to them. Hey, can I see your identification? You go, for what? They don't even have the decency to say, hey, excuse me, sir. Well, we got we got a call that was going on and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. Respect goes both ways. Respect goes both ways. Somebody walk up to you and say, can I see your identification? Just for no reason. You're going to be like, why? You're automatically going to be like, well, dang, man, like, bro. So you got to show us respect too. They pull you over. You might be on your way to work. You might be, you might be on your way to work. And they just pull you over just for the heck of it because they want to. Oh, can I see your license registration? Well, what did I do? I used to tell them cops, oh, like, I ain't showing you nothing till you tell me what I did. I guess y'all don't remember that. I guess y'all don't remember that live stream I did a couple of years ago when I went off on them. Not that I'm condoning that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying. When I was coming back from Fresno, I had to, I was on video and I went off on them. And they tried to say I was speeding, and I know I wasn't speeding. Well, I understand, Edward, because like I say, being a native of California and being a native of the East Bay, this is just random. This is just random, especially in Oakland. I got pulled over in Oakland so many times for no reason till I lost count. And I used to get mad before. This would be like in the early 90s and stuff, or the mid 90s before I started learning the law. But this is why we got to take the time out to learn the laws in our respective states, cities where we from. Because if we don't know what our rights are, they gonna continue to violate them. We have rights as citizens. We have, for real. But like I said before, it was, I mean, like I said before, it was just eerie to see, some officers that look like us doing that to another black man. To see them and not have no compassion. Just sitting up there, just chilling, like almost like admiring their work. Admiring their work, happy that they did that to another black man. Oh, you don't need no in California, you don't need no law degree to be a policeman. In California, all you need is a high school diploma or GED. And you could become a policeman. That's not the only city that require you to have a law degree, if I'm not mistaken, is the San Jose Police Department. You can you could join the Oakland Police Department basically 3 years out of high school. You have to be 20 and a half to be eligible to apply for the academy, because you have to, because by the time everything is over with, you have to be at least 21 to get, to be able to carry a gun and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Oakland, you don't need, that's not everywhere. I know for a fact, all you need is a GED in a high school or high school diploma. So that's not everywhere. That's some places. I know in California, like I said, it might have changed, but this was just recently the only city that require you to have some kind of law degree is San Jose Police Department. And I think they pay you anywhere from $90,000 to $100,000. So that's the thing. But this is what I'm saying about us. But this is what I'm saying about us as citizens. All of us got computers, all of us got phones, and we need to look up search and procedure. We need to look up Fourth Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, all that kind of stuff. Because we have to know the law. Because if we don't, this is going to keep happening. And like I said before, the reason why they come at us the way they come at us is because they just assume that we don't know. I done seen way too many videos where these white boys, when the boys in blue run up on them, they be ready. They be like, "Hey man, you can't do this. Penal code section so. It says you can't do it." And see, when we start reciting that too, and some of them will have an attitude. They'll be mad that we know, but at the end of the day, yeah, let them look stupid. Let them look stupid. Yeah, they'll be mad and they'll do all that other stuff, but yeah. But if they put their hands on you, or if they violate your civil rights, then you could you can take them to court. You can file complaints against them, because we got to do that. We gotta fight in groups. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, it take a village to raise a child. And at the end of the day, one person, one man, or one woman can't do this. It takes us as a whole to do this. And we got to start holding them accountable. Like I said, the police chief of Memphis is a black lady. But I guess she was like, I can't protect them. And she probably had no choice but to. And see, let me tell you something. The street camera that they had, and I didn't even know in Memphis they got cameras in residential neighborhoods. Now you can make an argument of whether that's violating you know what I'm saying, well, that's a violation of privacy, but they had street cameras that caught the whole thing. And I guess she knew she couldn't protect them. I guess she was like, well, once they see those street cameras, it's a wrap for them. Because the street cameras showed everything. Yeah, the street cameras didn't have no sound. And see, that's where you can make a better determination. Sometimes silence is better than sound, because basically what those dudes were doing. Let me tell you what they were doing, so you guys can have a better understanding. Let me tell you what they were doing. This is just real talk. Those officers were trying to sell their story. They was trying to. It's because remember, they teach them psychological games too to play with people, like to get them to admit certain things and stuff. So what they were doing, they were trying to make it look like what they was doing is just routine, like they didn't do nothing wrong. See, they was trying to sell the story of what they did to Tyreek, Nichols, not only to themselves, to the public. So they was trying to Jedi. That's why they was talking the way they was talking. They was trying to Jedi mind trick everybody, because I guess they didn't think, yeah, they had the body cameras on, but see, what they didn't know was, I guess they forgot about, I guess they forgot about the cameras in the street lights, and that's what cooked their goose. But they did a good job trying to sell it. Oh man, yeah, man, yeah, he took off, man. Yeah, he took off, man. He on drugs. Like I'm like, yeah, yo, I'm get, and I mean this. They no professionalism whatsoever. So yeah, I'm just reading some of y'all comments. I'm gonna try to address as many as I can. But yeah, but yeah, yeah. That's what they was doing. They was trying to play psychological warfare in case the video footage went public, in case it made it to the news. They were trying to sell the idea of the video of like, hey, this is just another day at the office. We didn't do anything wrong. So you have to watch out for that kind of stuff. And they tried to do a good acting job, man. They tried to do a good acting job of trying to sell that video, or what transpired. Like I said, there's no reason to chase a dude down and then beat him down. Once you have that man in handcuffs, he's contained. Now, unless he turns green and breaks the cuffs and all that kind of stuff, then that's a different story. And if that was to happen, you better run. But he was defenseless. See, that's the main topic that we need to start bringing up, that using the key word, he was defenseless. The key words we need to start using is defenseless and and tortured. That was a form of torturing. When you are defenseless, when you are tied up, technically when you are handcuffed, you are tied up. That's why it's called handcuffed, because you cannot use your hands. And then his hands was he was handcuffed from behind. And I'm gonna tell you something. It hurts when you get handcuffed from behind. It hurts. If you got bad shoulders and all that kind of stuff, man, you can start literally tearing ligaments, man, and all that kind of stuff. That's man, I'm serious. And then he laying on the ground. And then he's beaten to a pulp. Well, this is one of these situations where somebody got to go down. Listen, listen. The FBI is even getting involved. The FBI is talking about they were horrified and saying this is not what we teach. This is, well, we already know that's not what you teach. We already know this is what you teach. And I'm gonna say this right now. If any officer is willing to come on here and have a discussion, a fair discussion, an open discussion, hey, hit me up. If you want your identification protected, fine. That's fine. I won't reveal who you work for because I already know that sometimes in these situations they don't like for you to talk about these type of things. But I have people that follow my channel that's in law enforcement that admitted that they was in law enforcement, and they could tell you, you know what I'm saying? This stuff ain't cool. But we should be calling the Memphis police station every day. I just don't think those 5 cops should be fired. I think the other 3 that came and that didn't do nothing. I didn't see nobody jump. I didn't see nobody in the audio say, hey man, don't you think we should get this guy some help? I didn't see nobody look at the dude and say, hey man, this dude is hurt pretty badly. But like I said, when they sat up there and dragged that dude up against the car and pressed him, they dragged him. They didn't even lift him up. They dragged him. And it's all on video. Everybody saw it. Everybody saw what happened. Everybody saw what happened. We got audio, and then you know, then we got the visuals from, you know, from the street cameras. So we got everything we need, but like I said, the street cameras is more telling than the audio, because like I said before, they was trying to sell that story. They was trying to sell that story. Oh man, I think he reached for. That was a bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. Okay, so W1, why are you here, man? So you here to be the antagonist? You here to bring negativity to the conversation? You here to you know? So you don't think we can do nothing? You don't think protesting, applying pressure, sending letters, calling? See, that's the problem. See, and I hope you ain't black, and see, that's the problem, that we then came to believe that we can't make a difference because of people like you. Oh, ain't nothing gonna get done. Nobody. Hey, we can make people care what we think. No, well, no. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. You coming on here and we having a discussion on how we can fix this situation and what actions need to be taken. And then here you come being the dude who want to downplay, to have that typical attitude. Oh man, nobody don't care. Nobody ain't gonna do nothing, bro. Ain't nobody trying to hear that stuff, bro. You the problem. This is why we don't get stuff did, because of people like you. Oh man, we can't get man. Don't give us reparation because you a because person. You already showing who you is based off the way you entered the conversation. You already showed who you are. When you call police stations asking to speak to the chief, can we get voicemails? Can we send letters, emails? It's called concern. It's called complaints. When you sit up there and flood those lines, oh yeah, they start paying attention to it. It's called applying pressure. It's like what you do when you a boxer, when you trying to break your opponent down. It's called cutting. It's called cutting off the ring. Trust me, man. I know what I'm doing, bro. So you mean to tell me that the police don't have a complaint line? Because I know Oakland PD got one. But you probably ain't. You probably white. Because you ain't never been on here before. You probably white. You probably some white dude trying to come on here trying to antagonize this conversation and stuff, trying to be the antagonist. But it's not working. Pay this dude no mind. I'm not even finna respond to this dude no more. I'm not even finna. So anyway, as I was saying, if you in the Memphis area, you should organize protest, because I think more of them should be fired. I think all of them that was involved, that sat up there for 30 minutes and watched him sit up there in agonizing pain. He probably had man. I'm telling you right now, that's gonna be I'm telling you right now, that's gonna be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And I could see, and then he was bleeding profusely. I mean, he was bleeding. He was bang. He was touched up. And like I said, they didn't have a care in the world. When they got through high-fiving each other, they should have looked at him and said, hey man, this dude is pretty banged up. We need to get this dude. You never heard any one of those officers say we need to get him some medical attention. They just sat up there admiring their work, chilling. Like I said, I seen a close up of how he looked. Dude was busted up pretty bad. So I wonder how those officers feeling now that they sitting up at home unemployed, and then that they're gonna be facing criminal charges, and they should be facing criminal charges. They should all be locked up. Well, Stevie, it's just like Stevie just sitting up there watching that video. Like I said, it's just horrifying. It's horrifying to just see that get did to somebody. Like I said, you got to understand there's an angle with this. There's an agenda with this, and we all know what the agenda gonna be, what the agenda they're gonna push. There's gonna be arguments all across the board and what type of agenda is gonna be pushed. My agenda is they should go to jail. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color those cops was. I seen them exercising white supremacy and black faces. I mean, let's just have a real discussion about this. Nah, they ain't gonna get life, but they're gonna get an X amount of time in jail if this man. This got to be a lesson to people. Listen, you have a duty, you have an obligation. How are you going to get? We are supposed to be able to trust officers of the law, not have a distrust. And I'm sorry, when you look like us, you have a distrust. And it appears to me they haven't tried to fix the distrust that we have towards them. And I think a lot of these officers have this mentality that, hey, every situation, whether it's Amber Geiger, whether it's George Floyd, oh, these situations will calm down and we can go back to, you know what I'm saying, go back to basics. And no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that, man. You don't get to do that. You can't just go. I can't, you know what? All I'm gonna say is I had a conversation with somebody, how I felt about the situation, and I'm not gonna, I can't tell you how I really feel, not on this outlet, how I really feel about how they should be dealt with. But, yeah, I don't know. But the reason why I did this video, because I needed to get this off my chest. Because like I said, the anger that I'm feeling right now, I can't even really say how angry I am, just to, like I said, running doesn't translate to that result. And like I said, I ain't never been a big fan of Don Lemon. And y'all know how I feel about Don Lemon, but Don Lemon even admitted, heck, as aggressive as they was, I might have would have ran. Like I said, most of us have children. Most of us have sons. Some of y'all got young children. Some of y'all got teenagers. Some of y'all got grown kids. I got a 24-year-old son. I got a 24-year-old son that I raised and I kept out of prison, that I raised, me and his mother raised together. I'm living proof that a black child is better off being raised with two parents in his life than one. And I know this is a little bit off the subject, but I have to say this. This is also an end result of sometimes when you are raised by your mother. This is why you need a man. Because sometimes you have these black men that are raised to have contempt for other black men based off what they hear being said about another black man. This is why we have to stop this stuff sometimes. We have to stop tearing down each other. It's dangerous because this is the end result. This is like I said, this is what the welfare system is done to our community. This is other stuff, police brutality, all this systematic racism, the prison to pipeline system. This is what certain types of hip hop have done. A lot of this stuff is subliminal. It's subliminal and mental. And it's truth. It's truth. Like I said before, my son got his own apartment. He living in Minneapolis. I ain't gonna say he doing well, but he maintaining, he's learning adulthood. But like I said, I kept him out of the prison system. Me and his mother raised him together. It wasn't about us getting along. It was about us raising our son. And I have to say this to you black men out there, do not ever let anybody, don't let no woman, don't let the court system, don't let no other dude, don't ever let anybody make you feel like you don't belong and that you're not a factor in your child's life. Don't believe these women that say they don't need a man and all that stuff. They do need a man. A woman can never raise a man to be a man. And and if you women got a problem with that, then too bad. Cause I'm sorry, I got to tell the truth. I'm not finna sugarcoat it. Like I said, all this is the end results. I guarantee you most of those officers probably was raised by a woman. For them to not show no kind of compassion for another black man, I bet you. And if if they did come from a 2-parent home, then probably the father wasn't, you know what I'm saying? The father was either the beta male and the mother was like the shot caller. This stuff just got to be said, man. We got to have these conversations. I'm sorry. And I ain't fit. I'm sorry. If you think, I'm sorry. This stuff just got to be said, man. We got to stop sugarcoating. I'm not worried about people being offended because I'm seeing this happen on a regular basis. This is just happening too much. I can't sit up here. I can't sit up here and be biting my tongue because it's going to make somebody feel uncomfortable or it's going to make people. No, for real. A lot of this stuff is the end result. So when you raise strictly by women, or when you raised by a woman, when you don't have a father or a male figure present. I taught my son to have compassion. And I taught my son to be respectful and be respectful of himself as a black man and be respectful of other black men. So like I said, all this is coinciding in what's going on. This is the end result from all the way from Jim Crow to Willie Lynch. Like I said, prison pipeline, welfare system, all this blended together as a whole. All the way even going further back than that, all the way from the slave days, all the way from the field to the house. Colorism, all this stuff is playing a role in what's going on in our community. So like I said, man, we gotta start talking about this. I know we don't want to have these conversations because I know it may bother people. I know agenda pushing people they're gonna shy away from these type of conversations. But if we don't start talking about this more and more, this is gonna continue to happen. Until we start calling this out, what's blatantly going on, this is gonna continue to happen. Where do we draw the line? Where do we say enough is enough? Like I said, that shouldn't have happened to him. Real talk. Shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. Until we start having real conversations about what's going on in our community and how to fix our community, this is going to continue to happen. We got to stop worrying. Like I said, we got to stop worrying about everybody else. Like I said, we ain't in no position to worry about what's going on with everybody else's community. We got to start worrying about our communities. We got to start fixing our communities. And it's internal. It starts with everything from our households to how we treat each other outside our households, society, places of business, all this kind of stuff. It comes down to our conditioning. Like I said before, I can't. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I can't fix 400 plus years of damage overnight. And then they doing everything in their power, no matter what it is, to either keep us from learning something, keep us from obtaining something, or withholding. They've always done that to us. Prevention and withholding is what they've been doing to us since we got to this country. Since we got on them plantations. Teaching us to despise each other based off how light or dark our skin is. Just a whole bunch of stuff. So like I said before, this is very difficult. Like I said, we're in a very dire situation. And I'll put emphasis on that word die. Because this shouldn't be happening. That stuff that's been going on in Half Moon Bay in California with the Asian community, I gotta be honest with you. I ain't worried about them. I'm not Asian. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's not my problem. I'm worried about my community. What's going on with us? We have to stop being concerned about what's going on. That's their problem. Let them sort it out. We got to stop trying to fix everybody else's problems except ours. And I keep saying we have to distance ourselves from people. We have to worry about our own community. We have to fix each other. Black men and black women need fixing. We need spiritual fixing, mental fixing, physical fixing, every type of fixing you could think of. Because I'm sorry, I see it. The vitriol and the disdain that black men and black women have for each other is just, it's sickening. We already know who planted the seeds. We already know who caused the damage. We know who did the damage. But then guess what? Who's picking up the slack? We are. Who's doing the work now? We are. Sorry. This got to be said, man. It's got to be said, man. This got to be said, man. I know primarily I do sports and all this, all kind of different stuff, but this is a passion for me. This is something that I see and it saddens me. I wake up every morning sometimes seeing this disdain and this hatred, and I see it all. I see the pain, I see the hurt that black men and black women have towards each other, and then a lot of times we don't know how to fix it. But until somebody is willing to step forward, this is going to keep happening. Like I said before, I'm not anti-black woman. I'm not anti-black man. I'm just I'm pro-black people as a whole. I want black women to do good as well as black men. But like I said, we got to have these conversations. Until we start having these real conversations, this stuff is going to continue to happen. And it's happening at an alarming rate. I just cannot fathom seeing 5 white officers just dehumanizing another white person like the way that brother was did. Not showing any kind of compassion for that dude. And just like I said, I keep telling you, just reflecting on what I saw, the whole thing about them congregating and acting like it was just another day, at the bar or something, acting like they was coming out the arcade or something, or coming out the movie theater just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I saw the real unprofessional. None of that's man. I saw unprofessionalism at its finest, or should I say, at its lowest. They wasn't even talking like they were policemen. They were talking like some dudes coming out of class, headed to, in high school, headed to the next class, like, or some dudes headed to lunch or something, or gym class or something. Like, dude, are you kidding me? Do you know what you just done? I promise you they wouldn't have did that to another white man. Promise you that. And for the clown that came on here trying to be condescending, I promise you, if five officers had did that to a white dude, they would have been probably fired the next day. And they probably would be getting charged with more than manslaughter. They probably would be trying to charge them with So I'm just saying. But anyway, appreciate you guys listening, because I had to get this off my chest. I'm going to talk about this on my other channel. So y'all know where my other channel is. Come through in about 20 minutes. I'm going to discuss this on my other channel. I'm out.